A college student stands before a judge. She's been caught parking illegally during a snow emergency. Her car was towed, she paid hundreds to get it back, and now she's in court trying to talk her way out of the ticket. But there's a problem. She's lying, and the judge knows it. Watch her body language. Listen to her story. Count how many times she says, honestly. The more she says it, the less honest she sounds. The judge is a veteran. He's seen tens of thousands of cases. He can spot a liar from across the courtroom. He calls her out on it, directly. The more you mention honesty, the more suspicious I am. She's caught. She knows it. He knows it. Everyone in the courtroom knows it. So what does the judge do? Throw the book at her? Fine her the maximum? Lecture her about lying under oath? No. He does something completely unexpected, something that reveals more about justice, mercy, and human nature than any law book ever could. Today, we're breaking down one of the most fascinating courtroom moments you will ever see. A moment that starts with deception and ends with compassion. A moment that teaches us about how to spot when someone is lying, why people lie in court, the difference between justice and mercy, what it means to be a good judge, and why sometimes the best response to dishonesty isn't punishment. This is the story of Carrie Hopkins and Judge Caprio, and it's a masterclass in human psychology, courtroom dynamics, and the art of knowing when to show mercy. Buckle up. This is going to be a 2-hour deep dive into one 5-minute court case. The charge. Carrie Hopkins is in Providence, Rhode Island Municipal Court. She's been charged with parking during a snow emergency. In Rhode Island and many northeastern cities, when a snow emergency is declared, all cars must be off the streets so plows can clear them. If you leave your car parked during a snow emergency, it gets towed and you get a ticket. The towing fee alone can be $200 to $400. The ticket fine can be another $100 to $200. For a college student, that's a financial disaster. Who is Carrie Hopkins? Carrie is a student at Rhode Island College, RIC. She's young, probably early 20s, looks nervous, clearly uncomfortable being in court. She's not a criminal, she's not a troublemaker, she's just a college kid who parked in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or at least that's her story. Judge Frank Caprio. The judge presiding over this case is Frank Caprio, a legend in Rhode Island. He's been a judge for decades. He's known for being tough but fair, strict but compassionate. He runs a no-nonsense courtroom, but he also understands that most people who appear before him aren't criminals. They're regular folks who made mistakes or had bad luck. Judge Caprio has a unique approach. He treats people like humans, not case numbers. He asks questions, he listens, he considers circumstances, and he's developed an almost supernatural ability to detect when someone is lying. The initial exchange. Judge Caprio asks Carrie, "You're charged with parking during an emergency. What do you want to tell me about this?" This is a standard opening. He's giving her a chance to explain herself. And this is where it gets interesting. Carrie's story begins. "Well, Your Honor, I heard we were going to get some snow. I parked at my friend's house." Already there are problems with this story. Problem 1. I heard we were going to get snow. From who? Snow emergencies in Rhode Island are officially declared by the city. They're announced on TV, radio, social media. There are specific procedures. But Carrie says, "I heard." That's vague. That's not specific. Problem 2. I parked at my friend's house. Wait, if you parked at your friend's house, presumably in a driveway or private property, why would your car get towed? The judge picks up on this immediately. The judge probes. Who told you there was a storm? Who's informing you?
just recall what happened. Lying is hard. You have to construct and maintain a false narrative while appearing relaxed. That's why liars often crack under questioning. The cognitive load becomes too much. The judge's expertise. Judge Caprio says at the end, after presiding over tens of thousands of cases, I've become pretty good at picking up the tells. This is experience, pattern recognition. He's seen thousands of people lie to him. He knows what it looks like. He knows what it sounds like. He doesn't need a polygraph. He doesn't need hard evidence. He can read people. And he knows Carrie is not telling him the whole truth. What is Carrie lying about? Here's the interesting question. What exactly is Carrie lying about? She's probably not lying about parking during a snow emergency. Her car was towed. That's a fact. Being a student at RIC, easily verifiable. Paying the towing fee. She has receipts. She's probably lying or stretching the truth about not knowing about the snow emergency. She probably did know. Having no other parking options, she probably had choices. And being unable to afford the ticket, she said she can pay it, then walked it back. The towing company telling her to come to court, this might be exaggerated. Essentially, she's trying to present herself as an innocent victim of circumstance, when in reality she made a choice to park illegally during a snow emergency and is now facing the consequences. Why does she lie? Fear, embarrassment, self-preservation. She doesn't want to admit, I knew there was a snow emergency, but I didn't want to deal with finding legal parking, so I took a chance and parked illegally, hoping I wouldn't get towed. That makes her look careless and irresponsible. So instead, she constructs a narrative where she's the victim. I didn't know. I had no choice. I'm just a poor student. It's a sympathy play, and the judge sees right through it. The gentle interrogation. What's fascinating about Judge Caprio's approach is that he never directly accuses Carrie of lying. He doesn't say, you're lying, I don't believe you, stop wasting my time. Instead, he uses a softer approach. He asks questions, he makes observations, he lets her dig her own hole. Who told you about the storm? This forces her to commit to a source, my parents. Now he can evaluate, is that a credible way to learn about an official snow emergency? The meteorologist or your parents? He's pointing out the absurdity without being mean about it. He's using gentle sarcasm. They charged you the full amount? He's establishing that she's already paid a steep price, the towing fee, which factors into his final decision. The towing company revelation. The moment when Carrie reveals that the towing company told her to go ask the judge for a break is pivotal. The judge is genuinely irritated by this. Not at Carrie, at the towing company. They extracted maximum profit from this young woman and then told her to beg the judge for mercy. That's cynical, that's exploitative, and Judge Caprio wants Carrie to realize it too. Did you think of saying, why don't you give me a break? He's teaching her a lesson. Don't let companies take advantage of you and then tell you someone else will help you. Demand fairness from the people taking your money. The honestly call out. When the judge says, the more you mention honestly, the more suspicious I am, it's both a gentle rebuke and
One thing you can't fake. And then Judge Caprio says something profound. One thing you can't fake is a smile, and she had a genuine one. This is the key. Throughout all the lying, all the honestly statements, all the nervous energy, when the judge showed her mercy, her smile was real. You can fake words, you can fake stories, you can even fake some body language, but a genuine smile, the kind that reaches your eyes, that involves your whole face, that comes from real emotion, that's almost impossible to fake. And Judge Caprio saw that smile and thought, this is a good kid who made a mistake and is in over her head. That's who he showed mercy to, not the dishonest version trying to game the system, the real person underneath. What is justice? Justice in its purest form is about fairness and consequences. If you break a law, you face a penalty. The penalty is having your car towed, consequence, and paying a fine, consequence. Strict justice would say, she broke the law, she should pay the fine, end of story. And many judges would have done exactly that. What is mercy? Mercy is justice tempered by compassion. It's recognizing that sometimes strict application of the law isn't the right outcome. Mercy asks, what are the circumstances? Has the person already suffered consequences? Will additional punishment serve any purpose? What outcome best serves everyone involved? Judge Caprio's mercy. Judge Caprio looked at Carrie's situation and thought, she already paid $300+ for the tow. That's a huge hit for a college student. Adding another $100 to $200 fine on top of that is overkill. She's not a repeat offender. This seems to be her first time in front of me. The tow company already profited fully from her mistake. They showed her no mercy, so I will. Punishing her further doesn't serve any purpose. She's learned her lesson. Is this fair? Some people might argue, this isn't fair. She broke the law. She should pay the fine like everyone else. If you let her off, you're rewarding dishonesty. Other people paid their fines. Why does she get special treatment? These are valid concerns, but here's the counterargument. Fairness isn't always about treating everyone identically. It's about treating everyone appropriately based on their circumstances. Someone who parks illegally during a snow emergency because they didn't care and couldn't be bothered should pay the full fine. Someone who parked illegally due to genuine confusion, already paid a steep towing fee and shows genuine remorse, might deserve mercy. Context matters. The educational value. Judge Caprio's mercy also has educational value. Carrie will remember this moment for the rest of her life. She came into court planning to lie and manipulate. She got caught. And instead of being punished harshly, she received mercy. That teaches her something profound. Honesty and mercy are more powerful than manipulation and punishment. She learned, lying doesn't work. The judge saw through her immediately. Mercy exists, even when you don't deserve it, and how you should treat others with the compassion you were shown. If Judge Caprio had thrown the book at her, she would have left angry and resentful. Instead, she left grateful and humbled. Which outcome creates a better citizen? The tow company lesson. The judge also used this case to send a message to the tow company. By explicitly calling them out for taking Carrie's money and then telling her to ask the judge for a break, he's shaming them publicly. This case was filmed. It's been viewed millions of times online. Thurber Avenue Towing Company is now associated with this behavior, extracting maximum profit and then passing the buck to the judge. That's bad for their reputation, and it should be. Judge Caprio is using his platform to hold them accountable in a way that Carrie as an individual never could. The broader implications. This case raises bigger questions about the justice system. Should judges have discretion to show mercy? Some legal systems emphasize mandatory minimum sentences and strict rule application. The idea is, remove human bias, apply the law uniformly. But that approach can lead to unjust outcomes. A teenager caught with marijuana shouldn't get the same sentence as a drug dealer. Context matters. Judge Caprio represents a different philosophy. Judges should have discretion to consider circumstances and show mercy when appropriate. Is mercy a weakness? Some people view mercy as soft, as letting people get away with things. But mercy is actually harder than punishment. Punishment is easy. Apply the rule, collect the fine, next case. Mercy requires judgment, is this person deserving? Wisdom, what outcome serves justice best? Courage, to make a decision that might be criticized. Compassion, to see the human behind the case. Judge Caprio has all of those qualities. Does mercy encourage bad behavior? If you let people off for parking violations, won't more people park illegally? Maybe. But remember, Carrie still paid $300 plus for the tow. That's not getting off easy. And the fear of a $300 tow is probably more deterrent than a $100 fine anyway. Plus, Judge Caprio doesn't show mercy to everyone. He evaluates each case individually. Repeat offenders don't get mercy. People with bad attitudes don't get mercy. People who show no remorse don't get mercy. But a nervous college student who made a mistake, she gets mercy. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. Why do people lie in court? Carrie's not unique. People lie in court all the time. Not usually about big things, most people won't commit perjury on serious matters, but about small things, circumstances, motivations, details. Why? 1. Self-preservation. The most obvious reason. They're trying to avoid consequences. A parking ticket might not seem like a big deal to some people, but for a college student on a tight budget, $150 can be the difference between making rent and not. So they lie to try to get out of it. 2. Shame. People don't want to admit they were careless, negligent, or stupid. It's embarrassing to say, I knew about the snow emergency, but I was lazy and didn't want to move my car. So they construct a story where they're the victim of circumstances rather than the author of their own problem. 3. Social pressure. Carrie mentioned that the tow company told her to go to court and tell the judge you're a poor student. That's social pressure. Someone in a position of authority told her this was the right approach. So she did it, even though it meant being dishonest. 4. Optimism bias. People tend to overestimate their ability to deceive others. I can pull this off. The judge will believe me. I'm a good actor. They underestimate how good judges are at detecting lies. 5. Lack of alternatives. Some people genuinely don't know what else to do. Carrie probably thought, if I tell the truth that I knew about the snow emergency and parked anyway, I'll definitely have to pay. But if I say I didn't know, maybe I'll get off. She saw lying as her only chance. The telltale signs. Judge Caprio lists several signs he looks for. Verbal tells. Excessive qualifiers like honestly or to be honest. Vague language. I heard. Around 4 a.m. Story inconsistencies. Over-explaining irrelevant details. Hedging. I don't believe. Nonverbal tells. Avoiding eye contact. Excessive nervous energy. Fidgeting. Changes in voice pitch or speed. Micro-expressions. Brief flashes of emotion. Content tells. Lack of specific details. Story doesn't make logical sense. Convenient coincidences. Blaming others excessively. Why most people are bad liars. Research shows that most people are terrible at lying, especially under pressure. Judge Caprio's court sessions are filmed and posted on YouTube. They've been viewed hundreds of millions of times globally. Why? Because people are starving for examples of justice that feels human. Most court shows on TV are sensationalized. Judges yelling, people fighting, drama for ratings. Judge Caprio's court is different. It's real. It's compassionate. It's justice done right. People watch and think, this is what judges should be like. Viral moments. Judge Caprio has had dozens of viral moments. The veteran with PTSD who couldn't pay parking tickets. Dismissed. The father who parked illegally rushing his sick child to the hospital, dismissed. The elderly woman on a fixed income with multiple violations, reduced to nothing. The young man working 3 jobs to support his family, given a break. In almost every case, he finds a way to show mercy while still upholding the law. The criticism. Not everyone loves Judge Caprio's approach. Critics argue, he's too soft, people take advantage of him. He's not applying the law consistently, that's unfair to people who pay their fines. This is just feel-good theater. Real justice is impartial and strict. The response? Judge Caprio would probably say, I am applying the law. The law gives me discretion. I'm using that discretion to reach just outcomes. People who pay their fines aren't being treated unfairly. Each case is different. I evaluate each one individually. This isn't theater. These are real people with real problems, and I'm treating them like humans, not case numbers. The balancing act. Judge Caprio does show mercy often, but not always. He's harsh on repeat offenders who don't learn, people who show no remorse, people who lie egregiously, people who are disrespectful in court, people who endanger others, reckless driving, DUI. He reserves mercy for first-time offenders, people facing genuine hardship, people who show remorse, people who've already suffered consequences, people trying to do the right thing but made a mistake. That's not being soft, that's exercising judgment. The smile test. Judge Caprio mentions that you can't fake a smile. This is actually backed by science. Genuine smiles, called Duchenne smiles, involve not just the mouth but the muscles around the eyes. Fake smiles don't engage those muscles. Genuine smiles do. Judge Caprio has trained himself to recognize the difference. When Carrie smiled at the end, it wasn't a manipulative smile. It wasn't a, I got away with it smile. It was a genuine smile of relief, gratitude, and humility. That's what convinced him she was worth showing mercy to. The long-term impact. Judge Caprio believes his approach has long-term benefits. 1. People leave with respect for the system. Instead of thinking, judges are jerks, they think, justice can be fair. 2. People learn lessons. Instead of just paying fines and moving on, they reflect on their behavior and try to improve. 3. People pay forward the mercy. Someone shown mercy is more likely to show mercy to others. 4. Communities benefit. When people have positive interactions with the justice system, trust increases. That makes communities safer and more cooperative. The legacy. Judge Caprio is in his 70s now. He won't be a judge forever, but his approach has influenced a generation of lawyers, judges, and citizens. He's shown that justice doesn't have to be cold and mechanical. It can be human, compassionate, and still effective. Carrie's case is a perfect example, a small moment that teaches big lessons about honesty, mercy, and how to treat people. Lesson 1. Honesty is the best policy. Really? This phrase is cliché because it's true. Carrie tried to lie her way out of the ticket. She failed. The judge saw through her immediately. But even after being caught lying, she received mercy. The lesson, honesty works better than deception even when you think it won't. If she'd walked in and said, I knew there was a snow emergency. I parked illegally anyway. I already paid $300 for the tow. I'm asking for mercy, but I understand if you can't give it. She probably would have gotten the same result, but with more dignity and less stress. Lesson 2. Judges are smarter than you think. Judge Caprio has seen tens of thousands of cases. He's heard every excuse, every lie, every manipulation tactic. Don't assume you can outsmart someone with that much experience. Carrie learned this the hard way. She thought she could sell a story. The judge bought nothing. Lesson 3. You've already paid. The judge's decision was heavily influenced by the fact that Carrie already paid $300 plus for the tow. That's a significant penalty for a parking violation. The lesson. Sometimes you don't need to avoid all consequences. You just need to argue that the consequences you've already faced are sufficient. Carrie stumbled into this argument via the tow company's advice, but it worked. Lesson 4. Don't let companies exploit you. The judge was genuinely irritated that the tow company took Carrie's money and then told her to ask the judge for a break. That's exploitative. They profited fully and then passed responsibility to someone else. Carrie should have demanded, If you want me to be okay with this, give me a discount. The lesson: don't accept being taken advantage of. Demand fairness from the people taking your money. Lesson 5. Mercy is real. When Carrie came into court expecting strict punishment, she got mercy instead. That probably changed her view of the justice system, of judges, of authority in general. The lesson: the world isn't always as harsh as you fear. Sometimes people surprise you with compassion. Lesson 6. Saying honestly doesn't make you sound honest. This is a practical communication lesson. If you want to sound credible, don't pepper your speech with honestly, to be honest, or to tell you the truth. Just tell the truth. It stands on its own. Qualifiers make you sound less credible, not more. Lesson 7. Details matter. Carrie's story lacked details. That made it sound fabricated. If you're telling the truth, you have details, times, sequences, specifics. If you're lying, you keep it vague to avoid getting caught in contradictions. The lesson: if you're going to tell a story, have details ready. Or better yet, just tell the truth so the details come naturally. Lesson 8. Body language betrays you. Carrie's shaky eye contact, nervous energy, and fidgeting gave her away. You can control your words, you can't fully control your body. The lesson: if you're lying, your body will probably reveal it. Another reason to just be honest. Lesson 9. Preparation matters. Carrie came to court with a hastily constructed story based on the tow company's advice. She hadn't thought it through. She hadn't practiced. She hadn't anticipated the judge's questions. If you're going to court, even for something minor, prepare. Know the facts, have documentation, think through your story, anticipate questions, practice your explanation. Or, again, just tell the truth and you won't need to prepare a story. Lesson 10. Gratitude is powerful. When Judge Caprio dismissed the fine, Carrie was genuinely grateful. "Thank you so much, I appreciate it." That gratitude probably reinforced the judge's decision. It confirmed he'd made the right call. The lesson: when someone shows you mercy, express genuine gratitude. It validates their compassion and makes them more likely to show mercy to others in the future. What will Carrie do with this lesson? The real test is what happens next. Option 1. She learns nothing. She walks out thinking, "Cool, I lied and got away with it. I'll try that again next time." This would be the worst outcome. She'd become a habitual liar thinking manipulation works. But I doubt this is what happened. Judge Caprio called her out too explicitly. She knows she was caught. Option 2. She learns the surface lesson. She thinks, "Okay, I shouldn't say honestly so much. I need to make my lies more believable." This is better than option 1, but still not great. She's learned technique, but not ethics. Option 3. She learns the deep lesson. She realizes, I tried to lie, got caught, and still received mercy. Honesty is less stressful and more effective. And mercy is real. I should pay this forward. That's the transformation Judge Caprio hopes for. And based on her genuine smile, based on her visible relief, based on her gratitude, I think this is what happened. The ripple effect. If Carrie learned the deep lesson, it will affect her life in countless ways. She'll be more honest in future interactions. She'll remember this moment when she's in a position to show mercy to someone else. She'll tell this story to friends, spreading the lesson. She might even become a better citizen, more thoughtful about her actions. She'll have more respect for the justice system because it treated her with humanity. One small court case, one moment of mercy, potentially a lifetime of positive impact. That's the power of compassionate justice. Lesson 1. The justice system can be humane. Most people's view of the justice system is shaped by TV shows, sensationalized, news focused on extreme cases, and personal experiences, often negative. Carrie's case shows a different possibility. Justice can be fair, compassionate, and still effective. This matters because public trust in institutions is at an all-time low. When people see Judge Caprio treating someone with dignity and showing mercy, it restores some of that trust. Lesson 2. Discretion is important. Some legal systems try to remove human judgment with mandatory minimums and strict sentencing guidelines. The idea? Reduce bias, ensure consistency. But Carrie's case shows why discretion matters. A computer could look at the facts. Parking during snow emergency equals $150 fine. But a human judge can consider, she already paid $300 for the tow. She's a student with limited income. She's not a repeat offender. The tow company was exploitative. Additional punishment serves no purpose. Discretion allows for justice that considers context. That's valuable. Lesson 3. Mercy doesn't equal weakness. Some people view Judge Caprio's mercy as weakness, as being too soft. But mercy actually requires wisdom to know when it's appropriate, courage to make a decision others might criticize, confidence to deviate from the strict rule without fear, and strength to show compassion when it would be easier to be harsh. Harsh judgment is easy. Anyone can throw the book at someone. Wise mercy is hard. It requires real judgment. Lesson 4. Small interactions matter. For Judge Caprio, this was one of thousands of cases he's handled. For Carrie, this might be the only time she ever appears in court. That interaction shapes her view of justice, authority, and society for the rest of her life. The lesson? Small interactions have outsized impact. Treat every interaction as if it matters, because it does. This applies to teachers and students, bosses and employees, customer service and customers, parents and children, and anyone with power over someone else. How you treat people in small moments defines who you are. Lesson 5. Lies usually have a core of truth. Carrie was lying about details, but there was truth underneath. She did park illegally. She did pay for the tow. She is a student. She is struggling financially. The lies were about presentation, making herself seem more innocent, more victimized, more deserving. The lesson? When evaluating someone's story, look for the core truth beneath the embellishments. This is useful in parenting. Kids lie, but there's usually truth underneath. In management, employees make excuses, but there might be real issues. In relationships, partners might exaggerate, but their feelings are real. In conflict resolution, both sides lie, but both sides have legitimate grievances. Lesson 6. Punishment isn't always the answer. Our society defaults to punishment as the primary response to wrongdoing. Someone breaks a rule? Punish them. But punishment isn't always effective. Sometimes it creates resentment without teaching lessons. It harms people disproportionately to their offense. It fails to address underlying issues. It costs society more than it benefits. Carrie's case shows an alternative: proportional consequences plus mercy plus teaching. She faced consequences, the tow fee. She received mercy, no ticket fine. And she learned lessons: honesty, humility, and gratitude. That's more effective than harsh punishment would have been. Lesson 7. Trust your gut. Judge Caprio knew Carrie was lying. All the tells were there. But he also knew instinctively that she was a good kid who made a mistake. He trusted his gut, and his gut was right. The lesson? Experience plus intuition equals wisdom. Don't ignore your gut feelings, especially when you have expertise in an area. This applies to hiring decisions. Something feels off about a candidate. Relationship red flags. They say all the right things, but something's wrong. Business deals. The numbers look good, but your instinct says no. Parenting. Your kid is hiding something. Intuition isn't magic. It's your brain processing patterns you've seen before but can't consciously articulate. Trust it. Lesson 8. The system needs more Judge Caprios. Imagine if every judge approached cases like Judge Caprio. Listen fully. Consider context. Show respect. Exercise discretion wisely. Teach lessons, not just impose punishments. Show mercy when appropriate. The justice system would be more trusted by the public, more effective at rehabilitation, more efficient, with fewer appeals and fewer repeat offenders, more humane, more just in the truest sense. The question: can you systematize compassion? Can you train judges to have Judge Caprio's wisdom? Some of it is teachable: asking questions, considering context, recognizing tells. Some of it comes from experience and character. But we should try. The system would be better for it. Lesson 9. Technology can't replace human judgment. There's increasing talk about using AI and algorithms in the justice system. Predictive policing, sentencing algorithms, risk assessment tools. The idea: remove human bias, make decisions more objective. But Carrie's case shows why we need human judgment. An algorithm would see parking violation, $150 fine, apply fine, next case. It wouldn't consider, she already paid $300. She's a struggling student. The tow company was exploitative. She shows remorse. Mercy is appropriate here. Human judgment, flawed as it sometimes is, allows for nuance, context, and compassion. We shouldn't eliminate it in pursuit of algorithmic objectivity. Lesson 10. Stories matter. This case went viral because it's a compelling story. Young woman in trouble, tries to lie her way out, gets caught, receives mercy anyway, learns a lesson. Stories like this teach us more than legal textbooks or policy papers. They show us how justice should work, how humans should treat each other, how mercy and accountability can coexist. The lesson? Tell stories, share examples, let people see what good looks like. That's how culture changes. That's how systems improve. That's how we learn to be better. What this case teaches about human nature. Humans are complicated. Carrie is a liar. She tried to deceive the judge. A student, working toward a degree. A nervous young person, uncomfortable in court. Fundamentally decent. Genuine smile, real gratitude. Capable of growth. Learned from the experience. She's not all good or all bad. She's human. Judge Caprio saw that. He didn't reduce her to liar or parking violator. He saw a whole person. That's wisdom. The danger of binary thinking. Our culture increasingly thinks in binaries. Good people versus bad people, right versus wrong, innocent versus guilty, deserving versus undeserving. But reality is messy. People are complicated. Carrie did something wrong, parked illegally. She compounded it by lying. But she's not a bad person. She's a young person who made a mistake and handled it poorly. That doesn't make her evil, it makes her human. Judge Caprio understood this. That's why he could show mercy while still holding her accountable. The role of second chances. Everyone deserves a second chance, sometimes multiple chances. Carrie got her second chance in that courtroom. She tried to manipulate her way out of consequences. It didn't work. But instead of being crushed, she was lifted up. That second chance will change her trajectory. Maybe she becomes more honest. Maybe she treats others with more compassion. Maybe she pays forward the mercy she received. Second chances create opportunities for growth. The importance of reputation. Judge Caprio's reputation preceded him into that courtroom. Carrie probably knew his reputation for compassion. That's why the tow company told her to ask the judge for a break. His reputation allowed him to be effective. If he were known as a harsh judge who shows no mercy, Carrie might not even have tried to explain her circumstances. She would have just paid the fine and left bitter. But because of his reputation, she engaged with the process. She told her story, lies and all, and she walked away with a positive view of the justice system. Reputation matters. For judges, for leaders, for anyone in a position of authority. What makes a good judge? Based on this case, a good judge is someone who listens, actually hears what people are saying and not saying, observes, pays attention to body language, tone, details, questions, asks follow-ups, probes inconsistencies, seeks truth, considers context, doesn't just apply rules mechanically, exercises wisdom, knows when to be strict and when to show mercy, teaches, uses cases as opportunities to educate, not just punish, shows respect, treats everyone with dignity, regardless of their offense, acts with integrity, makes decisions based on principles, not politics or popularity, has compassion, sees the humanity in everyone who appears before them, maintains balance, tough when needed, merciful when appropriate. Judge Caprio embodies all of these qualities. The viral nature of compassion. This video has millions of views. Why? Because people are hungry for examples of compassion in action. We're surrounded by conflict, news, social media, politics, division, us versus them, cynicism, everything is corrupt, nothing works, harshness, cancel culture, zero tolerance. So when we see genuine compassion, a judge showing mercy to someone who doesn't necessarily deserve it, we stop and watch. We share it, we talk about it, we're moved by it. Because it reminds us, humanity is possible, compassion is real, the world isn't entirely cold and mechanical. That's powerful. Lessons for leaders. If you're in any position of leadership, manager, teacher, parent, coach, this case offers lessons. 1. People make mistakes. Don't define them by their worst moment. 2. Listen first. Before judging, understand the full situation. 3. Punishment isn't always the answer. Sometimes teaching is more effective. 4. Show mercy strategically. Not to everyone, not always, but when appropriate. 5. Explain your decisions. Judge Caprio told Carrie exactly why he was dismissing the fine. That teaches. 6. Treat people with dignity. Even when they're wrong, even when they've lied, treat them like humans. 7. Build a reputation for fairness. When people trust you, they engage honestly with you. 8. Long-term thinking. What outcome creates the best long-term result, not just immediate compliance? 8. Trust your gut. If you have experience, your intuition is processing patterns you can't consciously articulate. Use it. For society. 1. The justice system needs reform. We need more judges like Caprio who exercise wisdom and compassion. 2. Discretion matters. Don't eliminate human judgment in pursuit of algorithmic objectivity. 3. We need more examples of compassion. Share stories of mercy, kindness, and humanity. They change culture. 4. Second chances matter. Everyone makes mistakes. A just society offers opportunities for redemption. 5. Small interactions shape views. How institutions treat people in small moments determines public trust. The judge's reflection. At the end of the video, Judge Caprio reflects on what he observed. After presiding over tens of thousands of cases, I've become pretty good at picking up the tells of a liar. This is expertise, pattern recognition developed over decades. This young lady had most of them. He's confirming, yes, she was lying, I knew it. Shaky eye contact. The story lacked details. She used qualifying language such as honestly, way too much. He's itemizing the tells for the audience, teaching us what to look for. Despite all of that, I believed her. What did he believe? Not the lies, but the core truth. She's a good kid who made a mistake. One thing you can't fake is a smile, and she had a genuine one. This is the key. The genuine smile of gratitude when he dismissed the fine revealed her true character. She wasn't a con artist happy she got away with something. She was a relieved young person grateful for mercy she didn't expect. That's who the judge showed compassion to. The final word. This case is a masterclass in human psychology, how to spot lies, judicial wisdom, when to show mercy, effective leadership, how to teach lessons, compassionate justice, holding people accountable while still treating them with dignity. It's also a reminder. We live in a world that often feels harsh, mechanical, and unforgiving. But moments of genuine humanity, like a judge showing mercy to a lying college student, remind us that compassion is possible. That justice can be human, that we can hold people accountable while still treating them with dignity. That small acts of mercy can have ripple effects far beyond what we imagine. To Carrie Hopkins, if you ever see this, know that millions of people watched your case. Some judged you for lying, but most of us saw a young person who made a mistake and received mercy. We hope you learned from it. We hope you tell the truth now. We hope you show others the mercy you were shown. To Judge Frank Caprio, thank you for showing us what justice should look like. Thank you for treating people with dignity. Thank you for your wisdom, compassion, and humanity. You're not just a judge, you're a teacher, and you've taught millions of us valuable lessons through cases like this. To everyone watching, the next time you're in a position of authority over someone, as a parent, teacher, manager, or just a person interacting with someone who made a mistake, remember this case. Remember that lying usually comes from fear. People are more than their worst moments. Mercy is powerful. Compassion and accountability can coexist. How you treat people in small moments defines who you are. Be a Judge Caprio in your sphere of influence. Listen, consider context, exercise wisdom, show mercy when appropriate, and maybe, just maybe, you'll change someone's life. Thank you for spending 4 hours with me examining this case. If this changed how you think about honesty, mercy, or justice, drop a comment below. If you know someone who needs to see this, someone who's afraid to tell the truth, someone who's struggling with showing mercy, someone who's lost faith in the justice system, share it with them. Hit that like button if Judge Caprio restored your faith in judges. Subscribe for more deep dives into cases that teach us about humanity, justice, and how to live better lives. And remember, tell the truth, even when it's hard. Show mercy, even when it's not required. Treat people with dignity, even when they don't seem to deserve it. That's how we build a better world. One honest conversation at a time. One act of mercy at a time. One moment of compassion at a time. I'll see you in the next one.